Imagine you walk into a school cafeteria. On Monday, the delicious, gooey desserts are placed first in the line. On Tuesday, the fresh, healthy fruit is placed first. Nothing else changes. What happens? The simple, almost invisible act of changing the layout dramatically increases the amount of fruit the students choose to eat. No one was forced to do anything, no options were forbidden, no one's freedom was restricted, but their behavior was changed. They were gently nudged. This is the simple but world-changing idea at the heart of the Nobel Prize-winning book Nudge, by economist Richard Thaler and legal scholar Cass Sunstein. This book is a fascinating journey into the hidden architecture of our choices. Today on Geeky Philosopher, we are going to pull back the curtain on the invisible forces that shape your decisions every single day. This is a guide to understanding how you are being nudged and how you can use that same power to design a better life for yourself and for others. So, are you a human or an econ? The book begins with a fundamental distinction between two creatures. First, there is the econ. This is the mythical, perfectly rational being that lives in classical economic textbooks. Econs can think like a supercomputer, have no self-control problems, and are never biased. Then there is the human. That's us. Humans are predictably irrational. We procrastinate, we get emotional, we have biases, and we are easily influenced by the world around us. For centuries, our society has been designed for econs, but Thaler and Sunstein argue that if we want to build a better world, we have to start designing it for humans as they actually are. To do that, we first have to understand the environment in which we make choices. Segment 2, The Invisible Architect. This leads to the core concept of the book choice architecture. A choice architect is anyone who designs the environment in which people make decisions. If you are a doctor explaining options to a patient, a parent laying out choices for your child, or a web designer creating a sign-up form, you are a choice architect. And here's the most important rule. There is no neutral design. The way a question is framed, the way a menu is laid out, the way a button is placed on a screen. These things are not neutral. They all have a massive and measurable impact on the final decision. The person who designed the cafeteria line was a choice architect, whether they realized it or not. Since there is no way to avoid influencing people's choices, the authors argue that we have a moral responsibility to become better choice architects, to design environments that make it easier for our irrational human brains to make better decisions. Segment 3, The Power of the Gentle Push. What is a nudge? So how do we do this? We do it with a nudge. A nudge is any aspect of the choice architecture that alters people's behavior in a predictable way, without forbidding any options or significantly changing their economic incentives. A ban is not a nudge. A fine is not a nudge. Putting the fruit at eye level is a nudge. Our world is full of nudges. A fly painted in the center of a urinal to improve aim is a nudge. A text message from your dentist reminding you of your appointment is a nudge. A GPS that suggests a faster route is a nudge. A nudge is a gentle push in a better direction that still preserves your freedom to choose. This leads to the book's central and sometimes controversial political philosophy, Libertarian Paternalism. Of all the nudges, one is far and away the most powerful, the power of the default option. Humans have a massive status quo bias. Whatever the pre-selected default option is, most people will just stick with it. This is because it's easy. It requires no effort. The book gives a stunning, real-world example of this power organ donation. In countries where the default is opt-in, meaning you have to check a box to become an organ donor, very few people are donors. In countries where the default is opt-out, meaning you are automatically considered a donor unless you check a box to opt out, the rates of organ donation are often over 90%. That one tiny change in the choice architecture has saved countless lives. It's not that people in one country are more generous, it's just that they are responding to a more intelligently designed system. We see this in retirement savings. When companies switched from making employees opt in to a 401k plan to automatically enrolling them with an opt-out option, participation rates skyrocketed, dramatically improving the financial future of millions of people. the default is the most powerful and invisible nudge of all. Nudge is a profound and practical book because it makes us aware of the invisible forces that shape our lives. It gives us a new lens to see the world, not as a series of independent choices, but as a carefully designed architecture. It teaches us that small, seemingly insignificant changes in our environment can have a massive and predictable impact on our behavior. This knowledge is a great responsibility. It empowers us to become more conscious choice makers, to recognize when we are being nudged and to make our own deliberate decisions. And it empowers us to become better choice architects in our own lives. We can design better environments for our families, our colleagues, and ourselves, environments that make it easier to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. The goal is not to create a perfect world for perfect beings. It is to create a more forgiving and more intelligent world for the wonderfully flawed and predictably irrational humans that we are. This book is a journey into the hidden psychology of our daily decisions. It is a call to be more mindful of the environments we inhabit and more intentional about the environments we create. If you are a fellow architect of choice, someone who believes in designing wiser and more compassionate systems for a better world, then you are a part of this movement. Consider subscribing to Geeky Philosopher, where we are dedicated to exploring the ideas that help us build a better reality. Thank you for your time.